Part of our journey to become self-reliant was to establish a garden to grow our own produce. Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy and welcome to Hunt the Good Stuff. By growing our own food, we can minimize exposure to harmful pesticides, and increase our nutrition we get from our own produce by being able to pick at the peak ripeness. The idea of having fresh, organic produce just steps away, where we can savor the taste of homegrown tomatoes, crisp cucumbers, and the smell of fragrant herbs, is ideal for the lifestyle we're pursuing. Growing your own produce can be just as simple as finding space in the yard and digging a hole and planting some seed. When we are looking for things in the garden, raised beds were the way to go. There are several benefits to raised beds, like improved drainage, pest control, but for us, it provides easier access and less back pain to maintain. We laid out our 30-foot by 50-foot garden on the south side of the house. This is expanding our previous year's garden that you see there against the house. It's covered with cardboard. You can build raised beds just about out of anything, and we decided to use recycled wood pallets and old fence paneling to do ours. I found a sod farm through Facebook Marketplace that was giving away hundreds of pallets. This allowed me to get a large number of pallets that were all the same size. Also, because they were a sod farm, all their pallets were heat treated. Some pallets are treated with chemicals to prevent rot and pests. You want to stay away from those. Look for the HT printed on the pallets. We filled the flatbed trailer in the back of my husband's trucks with the pallets. I believe it ended up with a total of 72. Once home, I started breaking apart the pallets. I wanted to keep as much length to the boards as possible, so I opted to pry apart the boards. I did try a few different methods, but I ended up purchasing a pallet buster off Amazon for like $60. It was a lifesaver for my back. I'll link that into the description so you can see what that was. I found another place on Facebook Marketplace that had used fence paneling. I took the pallet buster there and broke apart the fencing to get single planks. For both the pallets and the fencing, I removed all the nails, cut everything down to size. My boxes are 4 foot long by 2 feet wide by 2 feet deep. And then I sanded everything down to remove the dirt and smooth out the rough spots. I used 80 grit sandpaper to do that. I then stained and sealed each plank with wood sealer to help prevent from water damage and sun. Hopefully that'll give me a longer life out of each box. I cut down the runners of the pallets and I used those for bracing inside each box. I ended up using a total of 4 2-foot cut sections of the runners in each of the boxes. I wanted to create a little privacy for the garden. So to do that, on one side of the box, I used 2x4s as the corner brace to allow me to create a vertical screen off the back side. The 2x4s ended up being the only wood that I needed to purchase. I did all the attaching with deck wood screws. Here I'm starting to put the boxes in place around the garden and doing the layout. You can see the 2x4 sticking up. That's where I eventually put the horizontal planks to create a screen. You'll see in this next picture. This is the corner box that you saw on the previous slide. But here you can see where I attached the horizontal planks to the 2x4s. I did that for the rest of the boxes as I put them out into the garden. It's starting to take shape there. For a weed barrier, I covered the whole garden with cardboard and then wood mulch on top of that. Once each box was done, I attached metal mesh to the bottom to keep moles from tunneling. I added cardboard underneath the box and inside the box. Because each box is 2 feet deep, I filled the bottom with brush and shredded paper before I added the garden soil. And you can see there the mesh coming out from the bottom. and laying on the cardboard. In the middle of the garden, I built 4 foot by 4 foot by 1 foot garden beds and lined them up side by side to create a row. I lined all of those with mesh and cardboard as well. I left a 12 by 12 grassy area in the back of the garden to create like a small sitting area. We took 4 by 4 by 8 posts and concreted those into some 5-gallon buckets. And Derek had carved our initials into this bucket, and I thought that was pretty sweet. We then put those buckets in the ground. I think we were only able to get about a foot, maybe like a foot and a half into the ground. The ground was so hard. We just couldn't dig anymore by hand without, getting some kind of equipment. We then attached our shade cloth to the posts. Overall, I'm pretty excited how everything turned out. I'll be adding more 4 foot by 4 foot by 1 foot boxes to the middle of the garden to create more rows in the future. But this was all I was able to get done before it was time to start planting plants. I'll do another video later to provide some updates and talk about how things worked out for the garden this year. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully this inspired you to get creative on your journey to hunt the good stuff.